Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Hello, my name is Corrine, and I'm here with my BFF, Eddi. And today our topic is opening to the mystery of life. Can you be okay with not knowing? Can you be okay with not knowing, Ed?
Well, I'm working on it, but yes, it's getting better and better and better every day because, my grandkids teach me every second. I don't know. That's what I tell them because they ask me a million questions a day. Sometimes I have the answer, but I'm okay with the staying in the mystery.
Yeah, so this is really practical, even though it sounds like a little bit of a mystical conversation. It's actually super practical, and we give you some, ways to do this in your life with any friction with anybody, some openness that can happen, and living mystery. Life is a living mystery. You are a living mystery. I'm a living mystery, and how when we're sort of walking in that curiosity, that can really just open up to much more joyful, expansive experience in life.
Yeah. Just our existence is enough right now. So enjoy the conversation. Were you recording it?
No, you just were anticipating that I was recording it, but I wasn't.
Oh,
so I tried recording us like an hour ago when we started talking, but then you changed your demeanor because I was like, we need to talk more casual sometimes at the beginning. But anyway, so then you thought I was tricking you after I went to the bathroom, but I wasn't because you were saying really cute stuff. Though
I know, but it is funny. I just said because we had to go to the bathroom.
And I put the battery, because I put the battery in my headphones. I said, oh, this is so much better because the battery's in now. My headphones are actually working. I said, even you sound better.
Yes. And I said, that's because I just peed.
And
then you said something that was rude. No, I'm kidding.
No, you said I sound better after you peed is what you said, or something like that.
That's what. Yeah.
See?
Like that. Anyway, here we go. Here we go.
When you have to explain a joke, it's not a joke anymore. I used to tell Sachi that all the time. So we're talking about our week. I just had Alea here for a wonderful, just one night, one day retreat, lots of new people, which was awesome. And I did because I talked to Carolyn from Newfoundland a few days before the retreat, and she said, oh, Kim and I are quite interested in maybe, doing a Zoom, sitting in on a Zoom satsang, like on a retreat sometime, because they, there's Zoom satsang normal, but maybe on a retreat. So I was talking to Alea about that, and she was open to that. So in the future, we might be doing that, opening up parts of the retreat for just a few people, not very many, because she said she'd like to treat them like they're there.
Yeah.
So when we break out to small groups, individual, she still wants to keep it intimate so she can connect with everybody.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's we're mulling it over.
We're mulling
How about you?
Everything. Well, me mulling it over. I'm mulling lots of things over. And yes, that would be good. I would sit in on a Zoom with you guys, or maybe even be there in person.
Me there in person would be even better.
Yeah, it would. It's always good. But Zooms are great. Technology, what? It's just a mystery to me how it all works.
It's a mystery to me. Yeah. Who was that? Hart or no, it was Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto. It's a mystery to me, wasn't it?
That's right. All those songs. It's a mystery to me. Who did that one? We agreed. Eddie Vedder.
Do you have agreed? Well, that's my friend Jerry that wrote it.
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder sang it. Society from the movie Wild. And but Jerry Hannon wrote it.
He did. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So many mystery songs. And so today we're talking about opening to the mystery of life. Can you be okay not knowing? Can you be okay not knowing, Eddie?
Yes, I can. After much inquiry, I think so. If you asked me that like 20 years ago, I would have said, not knowing what. I need to know. Where are we going? What's happening? Well, what's
why did this happen? Why?
Why did this happen? Who am I? What is this religion? Yeah. Like, why are we believing this and not that? What does it all mean?
Yeah.
And now that's one of the beautiful things is that we're able to sit in it and just reflect and I don't know. It's like not being okay with having the answer, right? Which is
all
well,
the
we
answers.
both,
Mm-hmm.
with all the answers
Mm-hmm.
to everything. It's like even
Mm-hmm.
we talked a little bit before you and I kind of went before you hit the record button, and I'm trying to forget about you hitting the record button. But it's I lost another friend, right? Another
Mm-hmm.
musician, and it's a mystery, right? It's just again like young and so much life to live, and there's around death and dying, we have so many questions, and I think that's a good time to just sit back and just sit in the peace or the mindfulness of it, and just it's
Just,
like Memorial Day, honoring the veterans, and
mm-hmm.
which is kind of today, what we're this
Mm-hmm.
moment we're recording this. So it's interesting that this is
Mm-hmm.
the time that this
Mm-hmm.
podcast has been planned, right? That yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I've been, so into silent retreats for so many years is just, and, Alea will say that all the time. It's like just getting quiet to listen, just
Hmm.
getting deep listening, you know? So when we're distracted or trying to come up with answers or trying to come up with whys and talking about scenarios, there's a time for that. There's a time for processing,
Yeah.
a time, but then allowing just having openness to the mystery, because we try to explain, even if it's a good story, we try to explain so many things and so much of it is bullshit, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. Like I used to say on sort of on my journey, I used to say, well, a good story is better than a bad story, but it's still a story.
Yeah.
Like I had a friend of mine who she's was getting ready, talking about getting ready for a date. And she's like, yeah, I was just thinking about where we were going to go and what we were going to do and how the conversation would be. And I'm like, well, what would it look like if you were just enjoying getting ready for the date?
Hmm.
Like enjoying, well, I had to think about where we were going to go, what I should wear. And I said, yeah, that's true. But then thinking about what you were going to say and what we are going to talk about, why don't you just enjoy, you know, dolling up or whatever it is you're doing and enjoy the mystery of the nervousness,
Hmm.
or apprehension, like sitting with that instead of being in a story that's not even ever like it's not ever going to be the way it unfolds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I grew up in a family of, they're all chatterboxes. I mean, I'm known as the quiet one, and yet I can have a good conversation too.
When you told me you were the quiet one many years ago in your family
Uh-huh.
before I met your sisters, I burst out laughing. So anyway, go ahead, but it is
Yep.
true.
And
Yeah.
and that's the point. Like they're still uncomfortable with silence. And maybe they're
Yeah.
getting better at it. Maybe that's part of their journey. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't pick at them. I just, accept everyone
Yeah.
for
Yeah. But just
who
notice
they
they are
are, right?
chatterboxes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're chatterboxes. And if there's a silent moment at any point, definitely one of them is going to say something. Like there's no dead air, It's interesting. And
Yeah.
when I sit back then and I look at that and go, interesting, huh? Where
Mm-hmm.
years ago I never even noticed that, right? I wouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
notice that everybody's not allowing it space or
Mm-hmm.
silence, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there's the mindfulness even around that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in families, it's funny. It's a good practice, especially as
Mm-hmm.
the holidays are coming up. Just see how much silence there is.
Yeah. Well, that's, it used to, I love my family. I'm really close to my family, but there are challenges,
Hmm.
and so my family's got quite a different, nobody meditates. My mom used to meditate with me once in a while. But I'm, so I'd have to take, so that's my alone, my quiet time. Cause I know once I come upstairs, I meditate in the morning before I come upstairs, that it's going to be full on all day. And then before dinner, like I'll help make dinner, I'll make dinner, whatever. And then, or in the afternoon, I'll go meditate. So I have that downtime, that quiet time so that I can be fully present and really enjoy, the company. And then if
Hmm.
something emotional does come up, like usually our buttons are pushed and we're poked at, like when we are tired. I was just talking to a friend of mine before we got on Zoom here, and she had not been sleeping for a couple of nights. And I said, and she was into going on a business trip and stuff. And I said, now is not the time when you're not feeling 100%. Now is not the time to like figure out your life and to,
Yeah.
figure out your daughter's life. And, it's like, but we want to do that because we
Yeah.
feel sort of sometimes out of control a little bit. And so noticing that, like when we're in something that's, that we're trying to grasp onto, trying to know something because we're feeling vulnerable, because we're feeling unsettled, because we're in new territory, if possibly there could just be an openness to the mystery, an
Hmm.
openness to the mystery. Can that be there along with, maybe some fear or what unrest or unknown or
Hmm.
whatever it is you're doing. So that's what I was saying. It started off with is like, as things come up, because things come up during the family, and when you're not sort of rested and resilient, you could be maybe more sensitive and read into things um, more. And so taking that time to step back and not trying to figure out other people's lives and just taking care of yourself, especially during travel, but anytime.
Hmm.
And so you come into that family dynamics with more patience and kindness and tenderness to yourself and everybody around you.
Yeah, and often family, they're looking to you for an answer, and it's okay not to have it at that
Yeah,
moment. They want it right now. It's okay
yeah.
to, just go, I don't know, I'm going to have to think about that. What would you come up with? Or why don't you just not have anything right now? Just, you don't have to have the answer, especially when, I know as we're getting older, people with their grandkids or their grown adult children,
Hmm.
often in our own heads, we think they're wanting an answer, and
Right.
right,
It's a good
they're
point.
waiting for something, right?
That's
And
a
I'm
good
just
point.
like, yeah. So I've been sitting with that and just not having anything to say,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like they're just talking about it. So, and I might have an opinion, I might have an answer. It might be correct, it might be incorrect, but not saying anything and being okay with just, okay, it's a thought, came in,
Hmm.
went out, doesn't have to be said.
That you don't have to get your word in. You can be, I tend to be a little more quiet around my family, sometimes. And because
Mm.
I just enjoy, listening to the dynamics of them
Well,
and
you have a choice. I
yes,
don't. I am quiet around my family.
that is
And they're a
so
lot of
true.
fun and they're
Yeah,
good,
yeah, they
it's
are
good
so much
peeps.
fun.
Yeah.
They are the funniest family. I mean, every time I'm around one of your siblings, I'm like, okay, that is such a funny person. And I mean, and I find you incredibly funny. Like you're not quite as funny on our podcast just because but it's coming out slowly. You get here
Well,
and there,
that's,
but
you have to
there
have
are
a little
times
bit of a, I don't know, you got to have a little bit of a filter.
you feel, I don't think you should though. Like we don't want any
Just a
filter. We
little
want
bit.
unfiltered Eddie. But anyway,
Okay.
You're very hilarious. Like you get big belly laughs and then your family's so witty and so funny, all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Love
Well,
laughter.
there's lots of great humor out there, and that's the whole thing again. It's like we become a very sensitive society as well. It's like there's a lot of buttons that can get pushed, and I try and be really aware of all that, mindful of all that.
Yeah.
Take it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people have opinions about it too, right? Like that's too much, it's too little, it's too that, and it's changing all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's an interesting time. It's a mystery,
It's a
you know?
mystery,
It's a
you
mystery.
know?
It's like trying to figure out and just, listening more
Yeah.
and not trying to figure out if it's good or bad,
Yeah.
not trying to have an opinion, just taking it in
Yep. And
and
even if
yeah.
somebody's not on the same page as you, stay curious even about that. That's one of my things I'm trying to do is if I'm not agreeing with that particular idea or,
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of like not sitting with me in the right way.
Hmm.
I'll just stay curious with it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my new
Nice.
way.
Such
It's
a
just,
great.
not even ask why am I feeling that. Just stay
Yeah.
curious, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you think about the more you've learned in your life along the way, like how opinionated. Like I think back and go, oh gosh, I ran and fitness was everything, and now I'm older and I'm like, okay, fitness is one of the things, but there's limitations now. Like, and the more you read and the more you learn and the more people that you have conversations with and learn from,
Mm-hmm.
your that expansion's so big, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you just go, that's curious. And
Yeah.
I want to do that the rest of my life. I want
Yeah.
to stay
Stay
curious
curious.
with everything, with the changing times, with what the kids say, what what they say to me. I When they ask for an answer, I'm like, well, let's talk about it because I don't have an answer right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
It's
talk
such a
about it.
beautiful, even thinking what the word curiosity means and is. If you think about, like a monkey that's curious that you put something in front of them and they're picking it apart and looking, it's not like, the opposite would be, you see a toy and you're like, oh yeah, I've played with that toy before. I don't like it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like shuts you down when you think like
Hmm.
I know is just like, or don't, that just shuts
Hmm.
the energy down. And then, or dismissing it or something like that. That's too, and just staying curious about everything is it's such an openness. It's such a approach of openness.
Hmm. Hmm. And it can be done at any age, at any
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
at any moment, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And it's again, thinking. As soon as we start future thinking, just coming back to that curious, that curiosity of why am I even thinking future, or come back to even that and
Yeah.
let that go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because there's so many things our mind tells us, like we have to plan for the future. We have to, if something's happening in the world, we have to figure it out. And the fact is that the information is going to be there. It's going to be in front. And there is certain things, yes, that's helpful to
Hmm.
plan and think about, but there's not nearly as much as we think there is. And being open to new information coming in the moment that might change what you've already set upon if you're looking into the future and okay, I'm going to do it that way. Well, most of the time there's going to be new information. It ends up being another way. So I
Hmm.
I thought that years ago. I was like, why? I used to see really clearly, why did I waste all that energy thinking about that thing when it turned out? And I
Yeah.
ask people sometimes, I'm like, now, isn't that giving you information? You remember how worried you were about this thing for a whole week? And then it either didn't even happen or happened different. Like, don't you feel like that's wasted energy? You
Hmm.
know? And some
Hmm.
people feel that way and some people don't. They're like, nope, that was all fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a mystery.
Yeah.
Instead of
Remember,
judging them and saying that's right or wrong or my way's better, it's like, okay, that's a mystery.
what
Yeah.
came into my mind when you just said that? When
But
remember the movie When Harry Met Sally,
oh
and she's
yes.
sitting there crying, and he's like, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I'm going to be 50." He said, "Yeah, not in 15
Yeah.
years."
Yeah. She was turning 35. Yeah, exactly.
And that stands in my head every now and again. I'm like, we're future thinking. That Stop it. Stop it.
That's a great example. I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Do you know that do you know who directed that and was who was the big director that was on All in the Family? He was the son on All in the Family.
Michael, Mike.
The biggest director on the
Yeah,
planet.
yeah.
Ryan
Reynolds. No,
no.
he's the cutest
Ryan,
one on the planet.
yes, he's the
Um,
cutest one.
uh,
He met his wife in New York. He was
Reiner,
Rob Reiner. Oh
Rob
my
Reiner.
gosh.
I know it. It's all right.
Okay.
We have these moments.
The huge director. He directed When Harry Met Sally. And so he
Wow.
said he came up with that because of when he met his wife.
Ah.
When he met his wife. Because him and his friends were having a conversation that when women and men cannot be friends, they've got to either be
Oh.
lovers or not, because that was the whole premise,
Yeah. And
why they,
imagine,
yeah.
and people still want the answer to that age old question. And I'm like, stay curious. Stay curious. Keep your curiosity alive. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
a good
Yeah.
film.
My friend
Hmm.
Sarah does that as well. She's been curious for a long time. And I think, yeah, Sarah McLean that we interviewed a while back.
Yeah.
She really does. And that's one thing I love about Alea too. Like, and it's like you don't feel judged then.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel judged because when somebody does something, like say you do something that I think I do better or something. And if I even have that belief or whatever, or if I just stay
Hmm.
curious, well, wow, I just wouldn't do it that way.
Yeah.
That's a mystery. Instead of being
Hmm.
like, wow, huh, I think mine was better, whatever it is that we
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
because we're constantly evaluating and judging. But if we soften into that and have an openness of curiosity about everything,
Yeah, even if you went to the doctor and it's a great big huge lump growing off the side of your head and he goes, "That's a mystery to me." Huh, what is that? What? That's when we don't want it to be a mystery. That's when we go, "Doc, what can you do about that?" And then they'll examine it and find a solution. And, you're not a unicorn. It's not a unicorn horn.
oh
It
my
could be a
gosh.
unicorn horn, but it's not. But, it's always asking, we always ask the questions like about everything: who, what, when, where, why. We drive ourselves absolutely batty sometimes,
We want to
wanting all
know
the
why
answers.
something, I mean,
Yeah.
we think life, I don't know what we think by the answers.
Yeah.
Like what, like I guess we feel more in control
Well, certainty, right?
and
Certainty
feel, yeah,
brings, yeah. And
control,
so
so
what if
more
we,
comfortable.
yeah, so what if we were okay with always having a beginner's mind with things?
Yeah.
Like just, going, "Oh, wow, that's so beautiful." Like a sunset, like
Yeah.
your niece loves the sunsets, right?
Yeah. And
And every day.
yeah. And I asked her, why is it that you like the sunset? She said, like, I don't know. They're just so pretty. She was in the mystery and I
Yeah.
was trying to figure it out. Like, what
Yeah.
is it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's that just, it's even for me it's really beautiful with grandkids because they we keep discovering things, right? They keep
Mhm.
asking questions and I just keep exploring with them like what do you feel? How do just let's think about that. Just it's just fun instead of,
Mhm.
I hear a lot of peeps always have trying to have the answer for them,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
going,
that's
"Tell
beautiful.
me
I
what
love that.
yeah, just tell me what you think or feel or
Yeah.
yeah,
And you're teaching them to have that nature of curiosity. You help supporting that, which natural children have that naturally anyway.
they do. Which is the beginner's mind. I think it's lovely to have at
Yeah.
any time in our lives. It's like that's kind of one of the I think it's one of the things if you're being okay with not knowing or not having the answers to just approach things with that type of curiosity.
Mm.
You think?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And
That
I just
mystery.
yeah, I just sort of got a vision too of what, of, with children, because I think of, children being so curious, and I kind of go to like what is it that the age that they just start asking why all the time, like 4, 5, 6, is that?
Oh yeah,
Like,
and
why is
on.
this? Why that? Why that? Why this? Why that? And but what the adult can do, and which is beautiful, is like, well, why do you think?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, my grandson, he does that all the time. And he'll, even the other day when you just said that, what came into my head was there was a kid on his little BMX bike in a parking lot. We're driving in the car down the road, passing the parking lot. And this is what he does every second or every 30 seconds. There's a question. And this question was, "Hey, Nana, what's that guy doing over there on his bike in the parking lot?" I was like, "What do you think he's doing?" 'Cause I'm like, why is he doing that? Why is he going backwards? Why is he there? Where's his parents? And the questions keep coming. And I'm like, "Do you know the guy?" And Oliver goes, "No." I'm like, "Well, how do you expect me to know? I'm driving the car. I'm trying to remember where we're going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Like,
just the questions, right? It's just an assault of questions all the
yeah.
time. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful because
Yeah.
it's growth. Like you can see it happening in front of your face. And
Yeah.
we want to keep that our whole lives. That's why
Yeah.
the mystery with everything, like even they ask me, all kinds of people ask me, what happens next? We have philosophers and we have, religion and we have so many systems in place. And sometimes that helps people navigate through life. But once we start, just questioning and observing, just being okay with not knowing. Like
Yeah.
science has answers, right, for
Mm-hmm.
certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but that not knowing, divinity, divine has
Mm-hmm.
answers, but there's that still that not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point of being okay, which is where I find fear starts dropping away.
Mm-hmm.
Where if we're not fearful of the unknown, then we're getting more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm. Because
And
really,
I
all of life is unknown.
It is. And I've not met anybody in life yet who tells me what happens after death. What
Mm-hmm.
happens after death? I've read all kinds of books. I've spoken to all kinds of experts
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, but I still haven't experienced that yet. So
Mm-hmm.
I really can't give you an answer. So this is why when people ask me, I'll say, your guess is as good as mine.
Mm-hmm. And it's a
Right?
guess.
And it's a guess, and I'm okay not knowing. So
Yeah.
I'm working on that. That's a piece about my life, right, and how I live my life, and how I live it with my family, my friends, my loved ones, my
Mm-hmm.
patients, right, everything
Mm-hmm.
is that mystery.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. And
yeah,
that's what is, it's like, it's so sort of even just feeling into that. It's like when you know something, and that's been my mantra a lot of my life, having conversation. Yeah, I know that. Or I'd like, that's what
yeah.
Sachi said when we first met. He goes, yeah, Americans are like, I know this, I know that, I know that. And I started noticing, it's like, whoa, yeah, we do know a lot. And really, we
I don't
don't know
think it's just
anything.
American. I don't think it's just Americans. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people respond, I know, I
Yeah,
know,
I know.
I
Yeah.
know, I
And
know.
now that I'm been feeling into that
I've
for a
done
couple
that.
of months, I've been listening and I hear when I say it, and I hear how that sort of stops the energy of the creative flow of the or any information coming in whatsoever.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. And then when there's curiosity there, there's openness, and then when there's just like it's a mystery, then there's a lot of openness. And as you said, then there's more comfort in the uncertainty, more comfort in the discomfort, more comfortable in the not knowing. Because really ultimately it's not just death, but really anything in life in the future. We don't know. If we
No.
have like, if we're married or have if we have, it's like COVID taught us that there's no guarantee of any future at all. And ultimately, none of us are guaranteed even the next breath.
Hmm.
And so but because we just assume that tomorrow is going to be like, the past 365 days, it's like it shuts us down to the mystery of life. And it's
Yeah.
not just the divine that is the mystery, it's all of life that's a
All of
mystery.
it. Hmm. Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. Yep.
Even the fact that a child just asks why constantly. Just like, I'm sure you've said this to him is like, what I would say is like, well, how would you feel if you were out there right now? Why would you be doing that? Well, because it's fun. He'd
Yeah.
probably say, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
well, then that's
Yeah.
probably,
Hmm. Personal growth, exploration, right?
yeah.
Just, yeah. I think, one of the biggest unanswered questions.
What is,
The mystery of life. What is the mystery of life? What is the meaning of life? What is that? What
oh,
is
what is
that?
the biggest unanswered question is what is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
Because to me, what is the mystery is different.
Well, they're
So
different. Yeah. But
yeah,
the
what is the
biggest
meaning of
unanswered.
life? It's different for everybody. We all have
Absolutely.
to find that's a whole another podcast. We have to find our
Absolutely.
own meaning. Meaning is created in the mind. If
Hmm.
people look for their meaning and their purpose, you create your meaning. We want to think that we're born for some big purpose.
Hmm.
You feel into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're feeling into that, being curious about your life, and you find
Hmm.
your purpose. You find your meaning, and it's different for every single one of us.
It is. It is. As is our view of the mystery.
Our
It's
openness to the mystery.
absolutely
Yeah.
the openness to it. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like it's so different because everybody's backstory is so different. The true nature, the that's why it's like I love the word Alea always brings up and you and I both do as well now, is that the inquiry, being inquisitive, being the
And well,
deep
that's
the deep
curious.
drink. Yeah,
That's being
yeah,
curious. That's like being open
yeah.
to looking at something and just allowing it to be there, being, just
Mm-hmm,
that's what inquiry is. It's like questioning. Inquiry means, because a lot of people don't know what that means, you
mm-hmm.
know? So I know you're really loving that right now, but a lot of people
Yeah.
don't. So I'd love to hear what it means for you. So I'll tell you what it sort of means for me is that it's like questioning my belief about something, my view about something, my way I operate in the world, questioning my conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
questioning like all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It for me it's that the deeper meaning. It's why. As something arises, what is it? How am I, even kind
Not a
of
why. It's not a why,
no,
right?
no, no, I know. That's
Yeah.
why I've
That's
stopped
right. Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not the
Yeah.
why. It's
Yeah.
it's the feeling around it. It's that
Yeah.
that yeah,
You're-
and it's hard to explain. It's so
Yeah.
hard to explain.
Yeah.
Which goes right back to the mystery of life. Hard
Yeah.
to explain.
Yeah, how your process is and your process of unfolding. And most likely, the way you feel into it and the way you understand it and the way you operate in inquiry and questioning is going to be different in a month or next week or a year
Mm-hmm.
from now than it is in this moment. I know certainly for me, um, when I first was introduced to what we're saying called inquiry, was years ago when I was hanging out in India. Ramana Maharshi sort of brought that in. It is called self inquiry. It's the same thing. And he used to, the question was, who am I? And it just never worked for me. I never resonated with me. I didn't know. I'd go on retreats and they're just like, just keep asking yourself, who am I? And then one time, Adi Ashanti on a retreat, he says, like, you don't just repeat who am I over and over in your mind. And you don't even necessarily like say, who am I? And try to come up with an answer. Like a lot of times I'll teach people who am I to ask themselves that after they meditate. And they'll be like, well, I'm a guitar player and I'm a singer and I'm a mother and and that could be fine. That's maybe a first step in some people's process of
Mm-hmm.
it. And but then one time Adi Ashanti said, um, it's not like you repeat it over and over. It said it's like looking for your keys. Like when you've lost your keys, you don't just say, I've lost my keys. You start to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually look and peek under things and look. And that's what inquiry is. It's like discovering, being curious, looking at under things, looking at the
Mm-hmm.
layers,
Mm-hmm.
and then it started to unfold and make a little more sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone's doing it a little differently.
Yeah.
Every single person on this planet, whether they're aware of it or not, it's like it begins with, a lot of times just recognizing just even the conditioning of ourselves. Sometimes we do things and we're like, I don't think I even like that anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to church or communion or confession or mass or choir, whatever, it's like, and then people come in and say, you know, I don't even listen to Christmas music anymore. Or now they've moved through that. And then they go, I love going in to the church and listening to Christmas music. I just feel good.
Yeah.
It's not about now idolizing anything or being part of a group or acceptance. It's now in the feel of
Mm-hmm.
things. And when I speak with
Mm-hmm.
people in my office, it's so beautiful to when they're moving through this. And I
Mm-hmm.
love it too because I sit with it and I'm still doing my inquiry around it. It doesn't matter what we do in our lives. We're still doing the self inquiry with everything.
Yeah,
I
it
hope.
seems to be, yeah, it's like never ending. It's constantly deepening. It's just a wonderful way to stay in the mystery and stay open is being in curiosity
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
everything. And yeah, looking at things and looking at things in a different way to not to come up with an answer or a conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
but to experience, to understand, to just sink in, like feel it
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
stay in the mystery and be in the mystery. Not even
Stay in the
stay in the mystery,
mystery.
but be
Yeah.
be the mystery. And then not even that, it's like be mystery,
Yeah.
you
Or,
know?
yeah. It's like when you say, I remember doing these workshops and it's like just settle in and that question, who am I? And then it's, who am I? And then I was like, I think I'm dyslexic because I keep saying who I am, who I am. Oh, maybe I
Hmm.
should just say who
Maybe you should just say I am.
I am. Maybe I.
Maybe
Hmm. The
nothing.
inquiring minds want to know.
Hmm. We do want to know. We do want to know. Yeah. I,
So, yeah. So I want to be okay with not knowing.
yeah. Yeah. How
And right
comfortable.
now in this moment, I'm okay with not
Yeah.
knowing.
Yeah.
We kind of do this with our podcast. We never know what we're going to talk about or where it's going to go. And,
Well, we know
you
what we're going
know,
to talk about. Because we
yes,
come up with
yes.
the title beforehand. That's Eddie's job is to come up with the
Hmm.
title and everything and beforehand. And so we do know that, but we don't like, yeah, write out questions or write out stuff.
No,
Then we fly by and maybe it's evident. I don't know.
I
I
think it's totally evident because there's a lot of amazing human beings out there listening and cats and dogs and animals too, because
don't
they sit by, they have, I haven't gotten any feedback from them, but,
know.
there's a lot of wonderful peeps going, because there's some things we agree on and some things we disagree on and some things we've moved through differently in our lives and we're not in each other's head. We know each
Yeah.
other a long time, 40 years, and
Yeah.
how beautiful that we can see the amazing growth
Yeah.
and that we're doing this,
Well,
right? We're here.
you push each other. Like we push each other to question each other, you know?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't necessarily say we disagree on things. I feel like we push each other to
Yes.
look at things with curiosity and openness rather than the knowing, not, but then I know.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
if you say something doesn't really resonate, I'm like, well, how, what about this? And you're like, oh, but no, it's like this more, and so it's more curious a conversation,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I feel relationship is really, really beautiful that relationship can be.
Yes, yes. And it's beautiful in a way that, you know, ego is not in the way. Is that, oh, I got to have the answer to that because, I should know this. It's like, uh, I don't know.
Hmm.
Let me check on that. You wouldn't come back and go, you should know that. That's what you're supposed
Yeah.
to know. Like that's not,
Well, it's shaming a little bit or judging a little bit, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And people shut
yeah.
down. It's like when, if you want somebody to warm to you or stay open to you or, or make more friends, it's like having this openness or go home with family, the relatives maybe that you don't get along with necessarily in the past. It's like having an openness to allow them, like, stay curious with who they are. So instead of judging them,
Hmm.
stay curious about who they are and how they're showing up. And
Yeah.
and if there might be somebody that want to go talk to rather than that person, but at least it's not maybe an affront or you're like, yeah, they're just showing up like they always do. It's like just
Yeah.
stay curious and it
Yeah.
be okay. Yeah, be as Eddie's saying, like be okay with the not. Can you be okay with the not knowing? We're not telling you to be okay with not
Hmm.
knowing. It's like, can you be okay with not knowing? There's a big difference in that because nobody likes being told what to do. Nobody.
No,
You're not even by
no.
your best friend. You don't want to be told what to do. I have clients sometimes that please tell me what to do, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm hard pressed to even say what I do because I really don't know what I would do because I'm not in your situation. I said I can help you sort of dig into it and help you with the curiosity of into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe become a little clearer so we can balance some things out and just so the
Yeah.
picture's not
Help you with,
muddy. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Help
what
with,
we do, but
yeah.
we can't make the decision.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. The clarity's within. It's the deepening. It's the,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You'll know when you know. Let us know. Inquiring minds want to know.
But let us know when you're opening to the mystery. That's what I'd say. Let us know when you feel like
Yeah.
you're opening. And if it works, like if you've tried it. So my guess is that you might be really good at opening to the mystery and being curious in some things, but probably maybe a little bit more resistant. Like if you have a challenge in your life right now, just check in right now to see if you have a curiosity, if you can have a curiosity about it. Just that. Just is it, can there
Mm-hmm.
be openness and be a curiosity? Any challenge at all right now?
Yeah. Not an opinion.
Yeah.
Not an opinion. Not a
We're,
judgment.
yeah.
Just a curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
different way of looking at some things, or not even, it's not even looking at them. It's more kind of feeling
Feeling
into them.
into. Yeah. Being able
Yeah.
to feel into. And then when you feel into it, there may be a sense of the mystery that we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mystery is not just for, a mystery movie that, it's not just for,
Yeah.
the divine. It's not just for death. It's like, it's all of life is a mystery. Like, why are we even here as humans?
Yeah.
How are we here as humans? That question can never be known. It's like
No.
us wanting, it's like, but can we be open to the mystery and open to not knowing?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Can,
is it okay? Why do we have to keep proving that that's a $14 million or million-year old fossil? Like, how do we, what? I'm like, okay, I believe that. And it looks about 14 million years old. I don't know what 500 years, yeah, well, I do, but millions of years. I mean, it's amazing. And I just go, wow,
yeah,
just, it's a wow factor.
yeah.
What a wow
And you can
mystery.
even use it for more practical things like, why is my daughter attracted to that young man?
Hmm.
That's like, and why is not, it's like, can I be curious and have an openness? Wow, that's really curious that my daughter's attracted to that young man. That's an
Hmm.
unknown. I don't know. Yeah.
Or
It's
young
not
woman.
why is she, yeah, or what, yeah, or whatever, or why are they
Yeah.
interested in, why is my, husband,
Hmm.
interested in hanging out with his buddies, more than
Hmm.
me or something like that. It's like,
Hmm.
it's like, well, is it true? Like there's that is like, can it be a
Yeah.
mystery? Can you just have an openness to not knowing why and just being curious? And when you're curious, like looking at certain things, well, you know, whatever the things that come
Hmm.
from openness.
Yeah. Not blame. Because a lot of times people
Yeah.
start doing little inquiry of why do I have that opinion or that judgment? Oh, it's because, I was raised that way, or
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mother or my father,
Yeah.
have this opinion,
Yeah.
and so I must have it as well. It's like, no, that's kind of like the layering. It's like
Yep.
ripping off the filo pastry, to
Yes.
get to the feta
Yes.
and
The
spinach in the
feeling.
middle, right?
That's
Just,
such a great visual.
me, I
I
have to have a
love that.
visual.
I love
Yeah,
that. I
that
love
just
that.
came in. That
Yeah.
just came in because
Yeah.
all that's so thin,
Yes. So
right?
thin. Yeah. And
But
that's how
and
our
there's,
beliefs are
yeah,
sometimes. It's like our layering of the things that we put on
yeah,
things,
till
the
we get to
layers.
the, so why can't we just be okay with that?
Yeah.
We know it's there.
Yeah. And just openness to even that. Why can't we be okay? It's like just
Yeah,
opening to anything that is
yeah,
uncomfortable, anything
yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
causing friction in your mind, in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
remember Eddie, remember Corinne, remember everybody, all our beloveds out there.
Yes.
Why is a question of pain.
Yeah. 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 Because why? Why?
Yeah, it takes us out of the true feeling of something. It takes us into our heads immediately.
Yeah, because we're searching for the answer.
Yeah,
We want the
searching for the
answer.
answers. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's work on
It's
that one. Let's start
openness.
that. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
start letting the
openness.
why go. Catch ourselves. Why are you doing that? What is, this is what we do. The why, what, where, when, how questions, right? If we
So
catch ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, so curiosity is not asking why.
Yeah.
Curiosity is openness. So your grandson, when he's asking why, that is a form of curiosity. But what we're talking about is a curiosity of openness, of not looking at something and just being rigid about it. It's just staying curious with it.
Mm-hmm.
And not trying to find an answer or a solution, it just openness. Just openness.
Openness and just acceptance that your mere existence is enough.
And that's another conversation for another time itself, because there's
that and the meaning of life, those things.
So those for next to be continued. You know me,
continued.
I those are my favorite questions. So, but we will have some really, Eddie loves this stuff too, obviously. And we will have some Dr. Eddie practical things, even though I feel like this is very practical.
Oh no, this is really good, but this is something you can bite your teeth into. It's not food, but it is.
Yeah.
It's food. It's
food for the soul and for your quality of life, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't always talk about sugar and it gets that's enough, right? We like to know some of the meaning of why we eat well, and because it pays off down the road. But we also need to know why, and not necessarily the question why, but the inquiry of the mystery.
Yeah, being
okay with the not knowing.
Being okay with not being okay, being okay with not knowing, just openness, just here.
Being okay with not having the answers all the time.
Yeah.
It has its place and time. Yeah. That was really nice.
That's good. Good topic, Eddie. Eddie, you came up with that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
I knew you'd love that one.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. And it just so happens that the last 20 minutes of the satsang we just did with Alea with our retreat just yesterday was her talking just like that, like staying open to the mystery. It's like, I don't know. Wow. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
I know it's a mystery. Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know.
It's beautiful. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what was going to happen tomorrow. We don't know. All we know is that we're breathing right now.
We're breathing right now, and I know I'm going to have some dinner, and you're going to go to bed soon.
Yes, because it's later up here.
Yes.
And until next time.
I love you, Ed.
Love you too, Ken.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.